Hello and welcome to the third round of the American Touring Car Championship, now into its third season. Once more, we are at the KW SuperSpeedway, the third time that the series has visited this venue. In front of you there you can see the points table so far this season. Keith Barker leading the way. He's the only driver so far to finish in all top five in all races. Closely behind him is Francisco Villar, and in third place, Yuri Braham. They're the only other two drivers to finish in the top 10 in all races this season. So it just shows the competitiveness of this league. Francisco Villar, of course, the only double winner so far this season. Yuri Braham with the most number of podiums this season. So their consistency is boding well so far. In fourth place is Jesper Talborg, who, after his troubles at the Nürburgring with his epic drive back from 13th to 4th place, sees himself in 4th in the championship. Behind him is Boucher and Lasky, both in the Peugeot 407s and equal on points. Behind his 7th place is Vincent Kahn, defending season 2 champion. The non-finish at Road America really costing him many points so far. In 8th is Eric Nelson, winning consistently as usual. 9th is the German Matthias Klein. 10th is the Portuguese driver Miguel Neto, and level on points with him is Tyler Skurlock in the Seat Toledo in the Synaptic Racing Bravo team. Now we're just in practice at the moment. Let's get into the action. And here we are now on board, or following indeed, Vincent Kahn, who is topping the timesheets so far by a mere thousandth of a second. Once more, this track showing the competitiveness and the ferocity of competition in this league. Behind him is Barrick and Saul Boucher, Pedro Amaral and Talborg, and all five of those within less than half a tenth of a second of each other. Let's check in on Karen Madara and Andrei Bogdan, joining in 7th place in this race. Promoted up from the second server for this race is Emil Salborg, after his 3rd and 1st place at the Nürburgring. Dropping down into server 2 is Paul Wood, who had very unfortunate connection errors in the second round, not able to register a finish or even start a race at the Nürburgring. Very unlucky there for Paul Wood. Currently running with Jesper Talborg at the moment, who's drafting one of the Track Devil cars, I believe. It might be Darius Widerski. I can't quite read what the window says. Oh, it's Andrei Bogdan, not even in the Track Devil racing team, he's in Zeno Racing. They are both on personal bests right now. As you can see, we are at an oval, and in every single car at this particular event is using the BMW 320 E90, the mandatory vehicle for this event. It's a tri-oval, 3 very elected sectors really. We're now heading to turn 1. Very deep banking, as you can see. With these touring cars, it's very easy to get out of the groove and drift higher up the track. Of course, with the closeness of the racing, drafting will be all important, getting away from the pack. In the recent visits to KW SuperSpeedway, the first time they came here, the races were won by Keith Barrick and Brandon Lawson. While during season 2, when we came here, it was Marty Pierce and Yuri Braham who took both of the wins. Barrick has never been out of the top 2 so far in the American Touring Car Championship at this event. He's looking very good for a strong result once again. Again, showing to be the man to beat in this particular championship. Several of the drivers are here from season 1, notably Abdul Ahmed, who had very good results so far. 3 top 6s out of the 4 races he's competed at this particular event. He might be a dark horse for a good result. And it's nice to be back in the American Touring Car Championship action even after a few weeks away over the Christmas break. I hope you all had a good Christmas. Very good New Year. And now with Francesco Villa, our only double winner so far this season, like I was saying. Just 4 points behind Heath in the championship as a result. Heath not having the greatest of runs by his standards at the Nürburgring, but still registering 2 top 5 finishes. Vincent Khan has had both pole positions here during previous events. 46.0. As you can see, the lap times are a bit faster now. 45.7 is probably going to be the lap time to aim for pole position by yourself during the Super Pole. BMW has sped up a little bit with the ATCC mod. For those of you not familiar with the ATCC mod, all cars have been changed ever so slightly for this championship. The more even spread of field. Special mod designed by Flying Dutchman Racing, mainly Yuri Braham. Going ball with Mattis clean for a run. Just put him in there, hitting the wall. That's not very good. Not the way to get around the track. Those of you who are familiar with watching Daytona and Talladega, you'll know that drafting is all important, as it will be here. Using the draft and getting away from the pack will be the way to go. Getting the good pit stop and making sure you stay in the draft is even more important. Getting that pit technique correct will be the aim of the game. So as we are just less than 1 minute to go until qualifying, it will be a very interesting battle indeed. Trying to find somebody who's on track right now. Everyone seems to have pitted. Oh, there we are, Francesco Villa still on track. Tarbo going for a nice little drive through the forests. Thank you for showing us that, Jesper. Jesper, of course, probably had the best drive of the season so far by anybody, I would say. Coming from 13th on the grid after his pit stop blunder in the first race at Nürburgring. And in the second race he went from 13th to 4th position, only a few seconds off the race winners. It really was a stirring drive there from Jesper. He'll be looking for another strong result here. Here we are now into qualifying. Khan has had pole position at both events held here in the past. So let's see if he can keep that up once more. Hopefully somebody will be out on track as we try and find them. And there is Saul Bouchard going out on track. 3rd in practice. Fresh from his win at the Nürburgring in the first race. Qualifying 2nd there and taking advantage of the pit blunder by Jesper Torborg. Heading now down the straight, trying to get as much speed as possible. Of course, you've not much time to get any speed or any temperature into the tyres around this place. 45-second lap. And here he is now heading on to his lap, and now he crosses the line now. Timer starts ticking, using all the track there and the speed up as much as possible. Share line joint 5th in the championship so far. All DHR Simcraft drivers have been doing very well in the championship. All 3 are in the top 7. As a result, they are leading the team's championship at this present time. And what can Boucher produce as a lap time for this? Looked like a clean run to me. Crossing the line now at 45.998, and Jesper Tarborg is over almost 2 tenths above that. Go on board with him. Let's follow him indeed. And Jesper is going to cross the line at 45.763. So that's the 45.7 that people will be aiming for. Very nice indeed. Khan is still in the pits, not made his move yet. Barrick, Amaral, Francisco Villa now on track. Let's follow him round. He's a little down in the first sector. Not so much that can't be made up. Skurlock pops up into 3rd position. Yuri Braham pops up into provisional pole with a 45.7 flat. That's a fantastic lap time. Running by oneself. Dursky pops up to the 7th place. Isles is now in 5th place. And VR is almost 10th down. See what he's done out of the final corner. Trying to keep that speed up. Here he comes crossing line now, and it's a 45.90, so he lost another 10th out of the last corner, so but still 3rd position, just ahead of Skurlock and Boucher. Let's try and find some of the other big guns who haven't set a lap just yet. Vincent Khan and Keith Barrick head on the track. We'll follow Keith Barrick first of all. He's further along on his outlap. He is now about to cross the line, about to cross that big KW sign, and he starts his lap. He knows that Yuri did a very quick lap time indeed. It's going to have to be a perfect lap to beat that, I feel. And just like Francisco Villa, he's 300ths of a second down in the first sector. Doesn't sound very much, but of course it's a lot on such a short lap. Second sector split coming up very shortly. And there it is. He lost another 0.04 of a second. Still doable here. If he keeps the speed up, it's still on the front row provisionally even. And it's a 45.724. He made up a little time on the last corner, but not enough. But it's still provisional front row there for Keith Barrick. Let's see now what Vincent Khan can do. And he's 0.0066 up. Can he make it 3 in a row? 3 pole positions at the KW SuperSpeedway. Goes over the line. 45.774. No! Oh, such a shame. Obviously not done quite so well. Even cut the track quite enough out of the final corner. Vincent Khan's run of pole positions at this track is broken. So just Daniel Wood, Michael Van Sheppard and Stefan Werner to go in this race. I'm missing a driver actually for this particular race. I'm not quite sure who that is. Hopefully they appear in the next 5 minutes. They will be missing out. Stefan Werner in his TrackDevil.com racing BMW starts his lap. Let's see where he can end up. And already 10th and a half down in the first sector. Now down the back straight into turn 2. What is really the final turn of this track? Really almost 2 turns. They're so long, and the banked tri-oval part of this, what we would call the front straight, I guess, comes now over the line. It's a 46.4. Really disappointing there. 19th place for Stefan Werner. Now Daniel Wood is about to cross the line as well. Let's see what he can do. It's going to be a 46. 46.1, 12th place. He'll be happy with that. See what Michael Van Schappingen can do. 3 minutes to go in the qualifying session. It'll be interesting to see where he can end up. Teammate, of course, to Yuri Braham, who has pole position at the moment. So it's unlikely that Michael will spoil the party, and very unlikely the fact that he just hit the wall coming out of out of turn 1 into turn 2. And that shows almost 4/10 of a second down. That will harm his speed all the way around the lap. Building up the speed, of course, is going to be crucial. Deeply unhappy with that. More laps of concentration. It looks like Yuri Braham is going to take pole position for this race and the 3 bonus points that go with it. Michael's about to cross line. It's a 46 point and 23rd position. I'll be very disappointed with that, with Diogo Lopez back in 24th. So congratulations there to Yuri Braham. Taking pole position from Barrick, Torborg, Khan, NATO, VR, Skurlock and Boucher. Khan qualifying well once again, but he'll be disappointed his run of pole position has been broken. But I would say that Yuri came up with almost a perfect lap time there, 45.7 flat. Those 3 points he gains moves him within 8 points of the championship leader, Keith Barrick. Yuri coming off the back of a 7th and a 3rd at the Nürburgring. Jesper coming off the back of a 13th and a 4th, as we discussed earlier. Vincent Khan is coming off the back of a 3rd and a 6th. So he had a much more consistent run than he had at Road America. After the crash which saw him DNF during the second race there, sorry. Very high speed incident it was as well. Jan Nato of the Portugal racing team is in 5th position with his teammates just behind him. Francisco VR, double winner of this season. He's come off the back of an 8th and a 1st at the Nürburgring. Tyler Skurlock there for Synaptic Racing, 7th position. 8th is Saul Boucher, so all 3 DHR Simcraft cars in the top 8. Boucher coming off the back of his win and a 7th place at the Nürburgring. Hopefully this season we won't see an incident like in Season 2, where a backmarker caught the apron and spun back in front of the top 3, causing 2 of them to retire. Span in front of Lawson, Barrick and Khan. Barrick managed to just get through that mess, but lost the win, handing it to Marty Pierce. But both Khan and Lawson had to retire from the race. Hopefully nothing like that happens again. Previous winners of this race have been Brandon Lawson and Keith Barrick in Season 2 and Marty Pierce and Yuri Braham in Season 2. Vincent Khan has had mixed results here really at this race. As I say, pole position in all the races that have been held here. We are now in warm-up. So we'll go to our race monitor and we'll check out the full grid. There is Yuri Braham, 4th line Dutchman Racing, with a 45.7 flat. Say with Barrick, Tobok, Khan, Nato, Biart, Skurlock and Boucher rounding out top 8. Very good run there from Pedro Amaral for Team Nata with a 46 flat. He'll be happy with his 9th position on the grid. In 10th place is Robert Isles. 11th is Bogdan. 12th Daniel Wood. 13th Hugo Gonsalves. 14th Darius Swiderski, who ever since his mishap at Road America in the second race has really not done very well at all, been quite disappointing in the races so far after such a promising start with his 2nd place at the first race. 15th is Abdul Ahmed, well placed. As I've said before, he's had a 4th, a 6th and a 3rd and an 18th, but we'll scan over that, but a 4th, a 6th and a 3rd in the 4 of the races he's had here before. Reggie's there in 16th, Reese there in 17th. Eric Nelson down in 18th position. I don't think he'll be happy with that particular qualifying run. Excuse me. Matthias Klein for Bonnegaard Ultimate back in 19th. Again, he'll be disappointed with that. And Stefan Werner and Dasbury. Emil Sarborg in 22nd, just newly promoted from Server 2, driving for Waterblue Racing. Rounding out the grid is Michael van Scheppingen and Diogo Lopez. Pitting will be oh so crucial here. Those of you familiar with oval racing will know that coming off the banked oval onto the flat apron is extremely difficult, especially when you're doing it at speed. Nico is setting the pace so far in this short warm-up session. As I was saying earlier, Vincent Carner has had a mixed record really at this track. Always qualifying well, his pole position in both events so far, but in both first races at this event he's done very, very poorly, but always recovering to 3rd place in the second race. So hopefully he's wanted to get rid of that poor performance in the first race and get a good result in the second race. 23rd and the 17th is his record in race 1 in these particular events. But it just shows with the drafting and with the closeness of the field, it's quite easy to get up from lower on the grid to higher up the grid for race 2. But of course he doesn't want to have to be doing that this time around. Let's see what happens. He hasn't qualified on pole so far, so hopefully he won't have such a bad race 1. Two minutes to go in this session. A reminder that the ATCC round 4 is next week. It's a 1 week break from this particular race. Also a reminder of the point system in this particular series. First position rewards you 101, second 95, third 90, fourth 86, fifth 83, sixth place 80 points, and all the way down to 39 points for 25th position in Server 1. Round 4, which as I say is next week, is from Watkins Glen. This race will be 30 laps long with the mandatory pit stop. There will be a rolling start for both of the races, rather than a rolling start 1 and a standing start for the second. Those of you familiar with oval racing will know this as a standard fare. There will be no weather at this particular event either, just the dry sessions. So at the end of warm-up, Miguel Neto has taken the fastest time, with Francisco Villa just in behind him. Now at the end of warm-up, and we will be shortly going to the race. Drivers will now be getting themselves relaxed and calmed down for the race. A couple of cars have already joined the grid. There is the car of Emil Salborg. Salberg, sorry, should I say, not Salborg. Car of Reese Gardner, driving for TrackDevil.com. We'll have all three cars in this particular event. Yuri Braham on pole position. Alongside him is Keith Barrick. Behind Yuri Braham is Jesper Torborg. Fourth position is Vincent Kahn. Look for those two to push each other off the line, both on the outside row, both for the same team, DHR Sincraft. So they could be making a break for it very quickly indeed. For Yuri look like they'll have to work together. The Synaptic team look a little bit spread out, so they may have to find other drivers to help them through. Portugal Racing Team and the Auto Racing Team will be looking to help each other, I would have thought. Ready to, the marshals give us the green flag and we're away on the formation lap. There goes Yuri. Dreaming through, some people lighting their tyres even off the grid. Sure there's any need for that. Field leads round now to what would usually technically described as turn 2. Really only 2 real turns on this particular track. You can see the track is quite bumpy down on in the racing line. Can't move around on each suspension. There's a nice shot as the car flows through turn 1. Down the back straight now. Drivers lining themselves up, ready for the go out of the final turn, which is coming up very, very shortly. Yuri Braham controls the pace. Looking a little straggly back at the back of the field there. They need to sort themselves out, or they're going to lose out. Keeping the draft is oh so crucial at this particular track. Losing the draft for only a few seconds will see you drop back and never able to catch up again. And Yuri Braham looks like he's keeping the speed up, getting ready to go. And that looks like go from me, and he's away. No, it's not go from me. Let's calm yourself down there, Ryan. Dream towards the end of what is officially lap 1. Coming over the line, and now it's green, 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 and everyone sets off. And it looks like Yuri's just holding. He's swept across the track. It looks like Keith Barrick has not got the greatest start there. And up the inside looks like Jesper Torborg is coming and pushing him through is Miguel Neto. It's 3 wide going around turn 1. There's Jesper in the lead. Neto on the inside. Yuri in the middle. Keith Barrick there on the outside sorts themselves out. Vincent Kahn's into 4th. Barrick to 5th. VR 6th, Skurlock 7th, Boucher is in 8th. Not a great start there for the DHR guys. Up the inside now looks Yuri Braham on Miguel Nato. Squeezing through a little bit of contact, but did they get through there okay? Well up front, Jesper's just keeping his way out of trouble. Looks like Vincent Khan is trying to push Yuri Braham past Miguel Nato. Lots of bump drafting going on here. They've all slotted back into single file. Look how close this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like that. As he comes streaming now over the camera. Flying down the back straight. Tarborg is keeping his nose clean at the front, but if we wonder for how much longer can he keep his way up there with no one to draft and everyone else drafting him. Going around the outside there is Francisco Veo. Up the inside comes Tyler Skurlock and takes the position. And the top 8 still covered by just over a second. As they stream over the line, finished start at lap 3. Robert Isles in 9th place sets the fastest lap, 45.882. And all the field is covered by less than a few seconds. Indeed, the top 16 covered by 3.6. The whole field covered by 6.8 seconds. That's phenomenal. Michael Vachakun has dropped off the back of the field. Looks like he's going to struggle to get back up through the field once again, losing that draft. Now you can see still the positions are being held. No one can seem to find a decisive move in these early stages. Of course, there is 30 laps and we're only on lap 4, just now heading to lap 5, so there's no need to go absolutely crazy just yet. But the field is certainly very, very tight indeed. Fastest lap by Tyler Skurlock, 45.707. He's the second Synaptic Racing BMW there in the queue. They're in 6th place. Getting pushed along by Francisco Villa. He comes streaming out of turn 1 once again. There go all the leaders, and the top 7 have made a break. Looks like the top 7 have dropped Saul Boucher. He's going to struggle to get back up there again now. He's going to have to work with Karamadara Andrew Bogdan to get up through the field. Still Jesper Tarborg, who is driving faultlessly at the front so far. Nobody seems to be able to get a proper run in it, but they're so close coming over the line. Nose to tail, absolutely literally climbing over each other. Look, very dangerous indeed. I wouldn't like to be part of this pack. And Yuri goes up the inside, and everybody else follows him. It is monkey see, monkey do, and Solbusha has just about managed to get back onto the back of this pack, as they must have slowed each other up a little bit, and through is going Yuri, up into 2nd place, through on Miguel Nato, up the inside is coming Vincent Khan. Keith is looking to follow him through as well. Over the line they come now. Vincent Khan is now going up the inside, it seems. Oh my goodness, no, it's Keith Barrett going up the inside of his teammate, Vincent Khan. And they've dropped a little bit of time here. Can the top 3 pull away? Can they work together to drop the rest of this pack? Vincent Khan is losing positions, going very, very wide indeed. I think he's dropping it back behind Tyler Skurlock now. Yes, he is. Tyler is looking very strong here indeed. Holds the fastest lap so far, 45.7. And the top 3 have checked out. Can they work together? Can they keep themselves away from Keith Barrett? But Keith has just about got enough draft there from Miguel Nato. He's keeping up. But the top four it seems now have made a break from the second group of Skurlock, Khan, Boucher and VR. That move of Khan's on Miguel Nato and the move as well from Barrett to go through with him have not paid off for Khan. He's dropped back into the pack, and that's broken up the pack. Still the top 4 are very close. We've got 2 clear groups here. Tarbo, Braham, Nato, Barrett, followed by Skurlock, Khan, Boucher and VR. For 1.5 seconds keeping away that group now. Keith did very, very well indeed to keep up with this group after losing slight contact. He must have driven his socks off just to get up through the field there. And Nato looking for the overlap on Yuri Braham now, but doesn't quite get it. Keith looking around the outside now of Miguel Nato and Keith sets the fastest lap so far, 45.614. As he comes streaming over the line into turn 1 and out of turn 1 again. And still, Jesper Tarborg is leading this race, as he has done from lap 1. Getting an excellent start. Carnes now moves into 5th position at the moment, but he's not going to be able to do much better than that until after the pit stops. Everyone will have to pit together, it seems, as well. That would be the most sensible option. That could also create problems, trying to slow themselves down for the pits without hitting each other with such fast speed. Maybe braver or even more reckless on the brakes than others going into that pit area. And in 9th position, it seems that Bogdan has perhaps latched on to the back of that group. As up the inside goes Keith Barrick, he's making a move for 3rd position. Yuri Braham is looking like he's wanting past Jesper Tarborg. Now we have 2 groups of 2 there. The second group is not too far behind the first group to be able to make the way up through the field. But Yuri, look at him, he's pushing Jesper Tarborg. He's desperate to get away from the 2 behind. They're working together. Both groups are working together. Not attacking each other, they're trying to work to get themselves back into a 4 group again. Or at least the 2 at the back the 2 at the front are trying to escape. And they are pulling further and further away from the second group. Yuri's determinedly trying to push Tarborg away from Keith Barrick and Miguel Nato, but it doesn't look like it's working. Looks like Keith has made his move there, and Nato has dropped back now off Keith. Can he get back up into this pack quickly enough to be able to not to lose the draft? The fastest lap there from Keith Barrick, 45.185. 45.185. That is an incredible lap time from Keith Barrick. How on earth did he set that? The pushing from Miguel Nato must have helped him absolutely loads. A 45.185. That is phenomenal. Fastest we've seen so far in practice was a 45.4 in a draft. 45.185. That is a fantastic lap time, and now we are 3 nose to tail. Keith's experience on this track and knowledge of the track and practice setups and everything else is really coming into the gears here. Why he is the premier driver in this series and why he's going to be so difficult to beat. Keeping himself up there all the time in 3rd position. They're all nose to tail, all working together now to get away from Nato, and they have got away from Nato. Nato has dropped right back. And it looks like it's a battle between the 3 of them for the race win. Nato looking very lonely indeed, and Khan and Boucher are working together, it seems, in 5th and 6th position. They should catch up to Nato pretty soon. Once Nato gets hung onto those guys, he should be able to work his way, they might be able to work their way back up once again. Top 3. Yuri Braham ahead in the pack now. Keith in 2nd. Tarborg in 3rd. First time in the race that Tarborg has not led. Now Keith is making a run for the lead. He is on fire here in the middle of the race. Just before the first pit stops. We must be going up to pit stops pretty soon, and that will be the absolutely crucial part of the race. Perhaps even more fascinating than the racing itself. That is where the crucial tenths are lost and made. Golovia and Bogdan are still battling away. They're in 9th position. For 7th position, sorry. Front group have spread themselves out a little bit here. Quickly check some at the back of the grid. There is Michael van Scheppingen. He's having a very lonely race so far. Desperately trying to keep up with the group ahead of him. Here is Reece Gardner tracking Dan Asbury. In front of them is Reggie Blaine, looking very lonely indeed. And Bogdan is into the pits, and is Via, and is Nato. They are the first drivers to make their pit stops. There he is, there's Via. And out of the pits has gone NATO, out of the pits has gone VR. Out of the pits as well is going Bogdan. He looks like he's dropped lots of time to the drivers ahead. Lots of time indeed. Let's check in on the leaders then. And there is Keith Berwick, leading away from Yuri Braham, but only just. Go on board now with Jesper Torborg on his front wheel. And there is Francisco VR rejoining the track. 3 slide past him. Now into lap 16. When will these guys pit? See how bumpy the track is as we go along there. And into the pits is coming all 3 of the top 3 almost crashing into each other there. And Jesper seems to have gone very... Oh, Jesper only just gets it slowed down for that corner there. And it looks like he's made lots and lots of ground on these two. Hopefully he didn't speed into the pits there. He was very, very close to doing so. Into the pits as well has come Saul Boucher. Out goes Jesper. And he has beaten Keith Berwick out. What has happened there? Keith lost lots of time, and so is Yuri Braham. How on earth did Jesper Torborg do such an excellent pit stop? He didn't make that much time up. How on earth he managed that, I really don't know. They came in almost level and have gone out almost maybe 1 to 2 seconds apart. As they get going again, very curious indeed. Yuri Braham has had a very poor pit stop also. Very poor pit stop. What on earth is going on there? Saul has made up lots of time as well. I can only presume that Keith and Yuri have both had bad pit stops rather than Jesper and Saul having great ones, because they both gained on them. Very bizarre indeed. So I was saying that's the more fascinating part of the race is these pit stops, and they have proven to be so. As Miguel Neto now comes up, and he was a few seconds behind Berwick during that pit stop, and he has come through and he has passed Berwick, and oh dear, Nato almost chops off the front of Vincent Kahn now as he go into there, and all 3 of the DHR guys are now together, ganging up now on Miguel Nato. Keith Berwick has got his lights on. They stream into first turn. Yuri is now back in behind Tyler Skurlock and Francisco Villa. He lost lots of time. We'll have to find out what happened there in the driver interviews after the race. And there is Jesper Torborg all by himself. How long he'll be by himself for, I'm not quite sure. Of course, he'll be going more slow than the guys behind, but how much of a gap has he got? That is the question. He's got almost a 6-second gap. Now, can he keep that up over the next 11 laps? Diogo Lopez has now pitted. He was one who did very, very well after coming up from server 2 in Nürburgring with the 6th and the 2nd position. But has over a 6-second lead now on, a 5-second lead now on Keith Berwick, and they're definitely gaining on the Honda driver, usual Honda driver, should I say, the BMW driver. The gap is 5.2 seconds, but all 4 of them working together should be able to eat into Jesper's lead pretty easily. But can they do it fast enough is the question. And yes, it seems so. They're taking perhaps half a second a lap out of him, which means in 10 laps they'll be with him, so it'll be absolutely nip and tuck. Gap going into this race and into this lap was 5.2. Here is this gaggle of cars. Nato getting out of shape there, and up the inside is going Vincent Kahn. And the gap at the line, after being 5.2, is now 4.9. That's not enough They need at least half a second a lap to be able to catch up Jesper Torborg. They're going to have to get their skates on and really work together. Seems to gaining lots and lots down the back straight, of course, with it being just flat out and very easy to bump draft each other, but down into the corners doesn't seem like they're winning it just as much. Obviously a lot more difficult to bump draft each other there. 7th and 8th are Graham, Via and Skurlock. Stuck there for now. Berg this lap is taking much more time out of Torborg's time, but that one lap of quite slow looks like it may cost them. They've only taken 0.4 from him that lap. 8 laps to go, it means 3.2 seconds they'll make up. Still over a second adrift of where they can be. Jesper just needs to keep it together. Coming up on lap traffic now. He's keeping low down the track. Amaral, I believe. Could be Diogo Lopez, I cannot quite remember. Oh, and Stefan Werner has been disqualified from the race. I don't know what on earth for that. Oof. Perhaps we get some details about that. Not sure when that happened. Gap is now down to 4.1 seconds to Keith Barry, but it's definitely not coming down fast enough. And into the pits has come Amaral. Perhaps he has some damage somewhere. There is Jesper Torborg, still leading the way. Gap is still 4.1 seconds, it's not enough. Don't think we're going to be able to do it, so we'll concentrate on the battle for second place. And Barrick and Boucher are trying to make a little bit of a gap there from NATO. Vincent Khan so far looks to be putting behind him his terrible run of results during race 1 at this particular event. Is down to 3.7 seconds. If you can just make a decent gap on this final sector, they will do okay, but they don't seem to be able to put it together. Gap remains at 3.7. Torborg is doing an excellent job up front, 45 nines, 46 zeros, lap after lap. Race fuel and race setup, that's extremely good lap times indeed. 5 laps to go. Graham, VR and Skurlock still battling in behind this group as Boucher looks up the inside of Barrack and loses a little bit of time. Back onto him goes Nato, onto him goes Khan. He can't relax for a second during this race. And it looks like up ahead that Jesper has got a drafting buddy. Indeed he has. Nice to know who that is. It's Diogo Lopez. Looks to be helping Jesper Torborg around the track. That will really please him. Pushing him around. Him in the draft. Keith Barrett still in second position, still on to keep up his record of finishing the top 2 in every single race so far at this particular event, the ATCC. 3 second places and a win. His battle continues. Vincent Khan looks to make a move on NATO. He looks quite impatient. Khan looks like he wants to get through NATO, but can't quite do it. NATO doesn't seem to have quite the pace of the group ahead. He's just a little bit more untidy in the corners. And coming to lap traffic now as well, and that's going to complicate matters, perhaps. No, not quite. They've done well. Gap to Jesper Torborg is now down to just 1.7 seconds. 2.5 laps to go. Are we on for a grandstand finish here? 6th, 7th and 8th, you can see Braham, Skurlock and VR. All three of those drivers will be looking to stay in those particular positions, trying to stay in the top 8 and not make any catastrophic mistakes. Be able to be in contention for the second race, for the pole position there. Gap's now down to 1.4, 1.3. And they've also got Diogo Lopez to pass. Can they get past the Portuguese driver? Can they use him? Can they use his draft to gain themselves even more time coming up to Jesper Torborg? The frustration getting past, they're going up the inside now. Has that cost them time or gained them time? 1.1 seconds the gap now. This is the penultimate lap. Can Jesper Torborg hold on from this train of cars? Determined DHR Simcraft onslaught. He's down just to 1 second flap, but Solberger has lost a little bit of draft there. He's lost some of the time that he was pushing Keith Barrick along for. Over the line they come. It's just 0.8 of a second into the final lap. Can Boucher find the speed to be able to catch up to Torborg? Did Solberger touch the wall there going around turn 1? Gap is just 0.6. This is an excellent finale to this race. What can they do? Jesper is clinging on for all his worth, but Barrett gets out of shape into the final turn. Boucher almost cleans him up. NATO now is looking strong in the background, but it looks like Torborg is going to take the win. Indeed he's going to do so, taking the win there just by half a second from Barrick, Boucher, Khan and NATO. And Khan beat NATO to the line. Look at that. Braham, Skurlock, VR. He'll be on pole position again for the second race, looking to do well in the second race format once again. Wood, Nelson, Ahmed, again very, very close over the line. Isles, Gonsalves, Bogdan, who's dropped way back. He was fighting for 7th position at one point. Reggie Blaine, Darius Swiderski. There is Reggie. Emil Sauerborg, Reese Gardner. There is Matthias Klein and Michael van Scheppingen, moved away up to 20th place from 24th. He had a terrible start, so lost lots of ground. It was very difficult to make ground back up once again, of course. '21st place was Lopez, 22nd Dan Asbury, 23rd Amaral, and Stefan Werner disqualified. We don't know why he was disqualified just yet, but he finished 24th position. Say that gives Jesper Torborg 101 points towards the championship. That moves him a lot closer to, well, not a lot closer, because Barrick did very well himself as well, of course. Barrick taking 95 points from this race. Cher taking 90. Khan taking 86. NATO taking 83. Boucher there. Oh, no, sorry. Braham's going to take 80 for his 6th position. Tyler Scarlett taking 77 points for his 7th position. So VR taking 74 for his 8th position. Puts Tarborg on 421 points heading into the second race. Barrick still on a very, very healthy indeed, 458. Now get ready for the second race. Again, it will be a rolling start. Kane Lasky, who is absent from this particular event, I've just figured out. Kane, who's been in joint 6th position in the championship so far. Fortunately, he couldn't be here tonight. Via has dropped an extra 21 points in the championship to Barrick. Himself on 433 by my calculations, as opposed to Barrick's 458. Helm's on 432. 1 point now behind Francisco Villa. Pole position, and he's 1 place ahead of Villa, helping him there. Boucher's on 390, with Khan back on 376. Well, NATO moves on to 360, and Boucher moves on to 357. Good luck, sorry. And 354, I apologise. It's late at night. The upshot is Barrick has extended his lead in the championship after that first race. Tarborg has put himself right back in the frame. Barrick keeping up his run of always finishing in the top 2 in this particular event, as we now get ready for the start of this second race. VR takes the inside line and pole position after his 8th place in the first race. In second place is Tyler Skurlock, 3rd Braham, 4th on the outside there is Nato in red and white car. Then comes the DHR brigade of Boucher, Barrick and Vincent Khan. Then comes race 1 winner Jesper Tarborg. Nice to find out what happens. Race there. Here we are now at the start of the race, and we are away. And somebody has left the game. It's Abdul Ahmed. We've lost Abdul Ahmed before the start of the race, and Villa has made a great start there. He takes an excellent run out of the first turn, and Sturlock is lagging behind a little bit there. NATO is looking to get in behind. He has won both second race events so far this season. He'll be looking to do so again. Looks like somebody was up there in the barriers in the back there. Find out who that was. Like one of the Keller Australis cars. It's Robert Isles, who's dropped way back down the field, and so has Swiderski and Amaral. So they've both all dropped off the back of the field, and they'll find their race heavily compromised indeed. The fact that Stefan Werner is in an intense battle there with Reggie Blaine, and Dan Asprey just in front, Diego Lopez just in front of them. They stream round, check back up at the front again. Villa is leading from his compatriot Miguel Nato. The whole train of cars once again forming at the start of this race. Train of 7 this time. Train of 8? No, is there a train of 8? There is. Just Nelson is just trying to get on the back of this group. train of 9 indeed. Barrick is in there as well. Barrick has dropped back quite a lot at the start of this race, as he did in the first race, but didn't seem to harm him at all. Jesper Torborg with a 45.490 at the start of this race. Fastest lap so far. VR is tracked still by NATO, trying desperately to push away from the pack, and they're doing quite a good job of it so far. The rest of the field seems to be squabbling a little amongst themselves. They need to get onto the case right now before they lose any touching at all with the leaders. And Yuri looks like he has done so. He's back into the draft again. So a mild little scare there from the drivers. Looks like there is more than 8 perhaps, more than 9 in fact in this particular battle. Looks like there's 11. Bogdan 11th place there, just keeping on to the back of this pack. Indeed he is. So this is a great race shaping up so far. As you saw in the first race, it's very, very easy for the pack to break up. In an instant the top 8 in the first race became 2 groups of 4. And after the pit stops, of course, we had one group of 1. With Jesper Torborg just hanging on for the win from the impending draft train. VR still losing their way around. NATO and Braham. Khan there as well. Gerlach, Torborg, Boucher and Barrick. Little small gap back to Barrick, to Nelson, Daniel Wood and Karamidar Andrew Bogdan. Through they come now. Barrick looks like he wants to move up through the pack. He wants up to 6th place. He is up to 6th place. To make his move, Jesper Torborg is left a little bit behind. He's in behind his Synaptic Racing teammate Tyler Skurlock, trying to push their way back through. Tyre top 8 by just 1.2 seconds. The group is all pretty much back together once again. Group of 11 cars fighting for the win. They stream around. Miguel Nato still in behind his compatriot Francisco Villa. Villa being very much like Tyler Skurlock was in the first race. Holding that, Jesper Torborg in the first race. I get all confused with all these different drivers. Holding that position at the front for a very long time indeed. Of course, there's no need in such a long race. Well, not a long race indeed, I suppose not a long race, but in terms of the fact that there's 30 laps, no need to go crazy in the opening 5 or 6. As that DHR train forms once again, Keith Berg sets the fastest lap time now, 45.406. Bogdan looks he's dropped a little bit back off the back of these. Be careful he doesn't move the draft at all. And we are still in a group of 11 cars, maybe 10, as Karamidara has dropped a little bit back, a bit further back. He may have dropped the draft. And they're going 3 wide there, the 3 Synaptic drivers. As Nelson makes his move past Tyler Skurlock and past Jesper Torborg. No, Torborg now in 7th place. Let's check in on that particular battle. There is Eric Nelson. Just in behind him is Jesper Torborg. They've dropped a little bit back. They're in a small amount of danger of losing the back of the pack. Would be disaster for guys like Jesper Torborg who are in the championship fight. There is Eric Nelson. Sit behind that train of DHR cars. Flying out of turn 1. Now down to the final turn. See, Jesper Torborg is dropping from the pack. He needs help desperately from somebody. So Eric has latched onto the back of these now. And look, it's 3 wide. There's contact there, almost a huge accident. NATO gets into Vincent Khan, who gets into Saul Boucher, I believe, and Keith Berg is taking advantage of that. And he's up now with those drivers and overtaking his THR teammates and going up the inside of NATO and Khan. Barrett goes from 7th to 4th in the blink of an eye, and Jesper Torborg is right back on this pack again. So that little mistake, the little incident, has let everybody catch back up once again, and we are back to an 8 train of cars once again. with perhaps the three behind just sniffing around for a small bit of draft. As up front, Francisco Villar still leads, leading from Yuri Braham. NATO has dropped right back now, and Yuri has gone very wide indeed there, and NATO and Villar have decided to pit. The Portuguese guys are going for a different strategy to the rest of the field. Let's see if that pays off for them. They're obviously wanting to work together. So Braham now leads from Barrett, Boucher and Khan. Eric Nelson there, hunting around, looking for a good result. As is Jesper Torborg, and Vincent Khan has lost ground. Daniel Wood and Karen Madara just in behind him. In behind Bogdan is Skurlock. Braham now keeping the lead there from Barrick, who's found himself in the top two once again. Started an even poorer start to race 2 than to race 1. In behind, Nelson and Torborg start to be looking to work together a little bit more than they were before. Vincent Khan looking in behind as well, and Barrett looks like he got a little bit of slide on there after a touch from Saul Boucher. Now they head down the back straight into the final corner. Looks like the DHR guys are making a move for the lead. Indeed they are, and Braham's been hang out to dry, but Nelson couldn't quite take advantage there. Torborg is pushing them along. So we can see the top 6 now made a break from 3 behind. Looks like the top 3 are trying to make a break from the 3 and 4th, 5th and 6th. So can they make that break? Very, very easy to do so. We saw it in race 1. Small mistake, catches everybody back up once again. Speeds are so high. It's like perhaps they are. They look the most in line of the groups. The other group looks to be going inside of each other quite a bit of the time. They need to work together a little bit more intelligently. Now it's not going to get anywhere at all. It's a little update progress on VR and NATO. They rejoined 21st and 22nd position, unsurprisingly. Miles is way down there after his lap 1 incident. Top 3 covered by less than 1/10 of a second. Nelson, Torborg and Khan desperately look to work together now. They are more in line than they were at the lap before. Trying to catch up to this trio ahead. But staying close in these particular corners. Don't have to catch up too much down the straight. Interesting to see if NATO and VR are working together. Let's see, let's go to them now. And they're putting their lights on. They obviously wanted the pit, and Braham has just touched the back of Boucher, and Barrick has made a break for it. And through now is coming Eric Nelson. I think. Oh, it's Jesper Torborg in fact. And Eric Nelson's been dropped by this pack. What has happened to him? Khan there in 5th position. 4th position, should I say, as he's just gone past Jesper Torborg. And they're sliding around back there. Vincent Khan getting a big wiggle on. Into the pits they come. Barrett goes in. Braham goes in. Khan, Boucher, Torborg and Nelson. Oh, look at them all piling into the pits. Very, very dangerous indeed. I think one of them at least is going to be speeded, surely. Who will come out in the lead? Let's see what happens here. Already Keith Barrick has left the pits. A lot better pit stop than he had previously, of course. Braham is leaving as well, alongside Jesper Torborg, who's had an excellent pit stop once again. As they're glued together. I'm not sure what they're going to do when it becomes collisions again. And the game has decided it's going to be Jesper Torborg who takes the position. So he's on the outside now of Yuri Braham as they head out now back onto the track. Keith Barrett doesn't have a big lead like Jesper did in the first race, so it will be interesting to see how fast these guys catch up to him. And here comes Francisco Villa, Miguel Nato, and they've passed these guys. Can they get? They won't get past Keith Barrett, so they'll find themselves holed up against him. But the big question is, as Villa and Nato catch up to Keith Barrett, will these guys be able to catch up back onto Nato and Villa? And I think they can. That was a danger, that Nato and Villa will catch up to Barrett and become a team and leave these guys behind. But indeed, who has been left behind is Vincent Kahn and Saul Bouchard. That's not worked out well at all for the other two DHR cars, but it's worked out well for the DHR car of Keith Barrett. They all have their headlights on still. I don't think they're pitting again. We've got them to turn the lights off. Diogo Lopez, Hugo Gonçalves and Stefan Werner are still on track. In fact, actually Gonçalves and Werner have gone into the pits, but Diogo is still lapping around. Probably not the most advisable thing to do, considering keeping the draft is so important. And so this battle at the front is rejoined. It looks like a 5-car race for the win, unless the two DHR cars in behind can work together and perform a miracle. It looks unlikely. So we have effectively Barrick in the net lead, Villa in behind, Nato, Torborg and Yuri Braham rounding out the net top 5. These four look to catch up to Keith Barrick. Don't seem to be doing a very good job of it so far. They seem to be more concerned with squabbling amongst themselves. Surely they will catch up soon. Jesper right in behind Yuri Braham there. Train of 4 cars just need to work together for a couple of laps and catch up to Keith. Make it this 5-horse race. Seem more concerned with competing with each other. In the whole course of things, I think only Nato and Villa really want to work together. They are in different, no, not in different teams, sorry. Villa and Nato are in the same team, whereas all 3 of the other guys are in different teams. Torborg has taken the position there from Yuri, leading him round as Yuri tries to push him along. And they are just about catching up now to Keith Barrick. They're a second behind now. Bogdan has rejoined in 8th position. Wood, Gardner, Skurlock and Gonçalves down the road. What has happened to Eric Nelson? He's down in 21st position. I'm suspecting that he sped into the pit lane. I'm sure one of those drivers there seemed to go in a little bit too hot. The competition was so fierce, all piling in together, going every which way around each other, trying not to hit each other. I suspect that he got a drive-through penalty or even a stop and go, which of course has ruined his race after looking so very strong and having such a good run. Gap is coming down very slowly to Keith Barrick. Like these guys are working together quite as well as perhaps they were earlier in the race. As Jesper makes a move up the inside of Nato, makes a move up back up the inside of him, and this is exactly what Keith Barrick will be wanting them to do for the next 9 laps, just squabble amongst themselves. It's exciting racing, but it's absolutely perfect for Keith Barrick as they go almost 3 wide along the front straight. And they've lost time to the single car of Keith Barrick, who's doing a fantastic job to stay up there, just like Jesper Torborg did, doing 45.9s and 46.0s lap after lap. And they settle back now into a rhythm. They just need to work together. Instead of squabbling. they work together, they can all fight for the race win rather than fighting for second position, and surely that's a better way to go. And Yuri is in danger of losing the draft here. He needs a good corner here, else he's going to be in trouble as Tarbor goes up the inside of NATO once again. NATO once again looking the scrappiest of the drivers in this group, just like he did in race 1, but Braham is now back onto the group here. Gap is now back down to a second. NATO is now 0.4 behind VR, which means he's not correctly in the drafting position and able to push past, push VR up to Keith Barrick. Just not the way to do it. Boucher and Barrick showed the way to go in the first race, how to catch up back to a leader. They almost did it, despite the fact they had 6 seconds to make up. Khan there is very lonely there in 6th position. Looks like that's where he'll stay for the rest of this race. Boucher in a lonely 7th. Stays that way. Vincent Khan will pick up another 80 points, and Boucher will pick up another 77. Gardner has seen himself have a good run up to 8th position. He'll be pleased with that. They head down the back straight once again, and still Keith Barrick has a 1 second lead. There are 6 laps to go. These guys just need to get on with it. Not quite sure what they're thinking. Not communicating with each other or driving sensibly at all, really, in terms of catching up to Keith Barrick. Perhaps they'll do it now. Jesper has finally got past NATO. As we've been trying to do for most of this race. He's been looking very impatient indeed, as they are all side by side once again swerving around. I'm not quite sure what effect this is, and how this is helping them. It's obviously very exciting racing for the rest of us, but in terms of driving nows and racing, just common sense, it just does not make any sense at all. As NATO has dropped back behind Braham, and he's in a slight worry of losing the draft now if he does not get back onto that pack out of this final corner. As Tarbor goes inside once again and loses ground once again, and Braham almost cleans up on the exit, but he gains out of the final corner. It looks like Tarbor is going to go for the inside. He's going for the inside. Khan is going there as well. NATO is in behind. Looks like he's trying to try and help his compatriot VR though, rather than help the guys in front. NATO almost gets it out of shape there, and the gap is now 1.3. The gap is growing larger and larger. Barrick up ahead must be laughing his socks off, as these guys are just handing him the win. And now Torborg and Braham are now into second and third. They will have fresher tyres, which is not absolutely crucial at this particular track, but it may give them that slight edge over the Portuguese drivers behind. And perhaps now these two will work together to catch up to Keith Barrick. They cross the line. The gap is 1.8 seconds. There are 4 laps to go. What can Torborg and Braham do about Barrick? Braham after his 6th place in race 1. Torborg after his win. Keith stays where he is. He'll take 196 points from this event and extend his championship lead ever further. Torborg will take another 95 and also take 196 points from this event. Braham will take 90 to take 170 points from the event, so he'll drop further back behind Barrick. VR hasn't given up trying to fight for second position, and they're taking 4 tenths now, these two, from Keith Barrick. 2.5 laps to go. VR is looking to latch onto the back of these two. They're showing him how it should be done. It's down to 1.1 seconds with just 2 and a bit laps to go. Once it gets to half a second, they'll be able to sniff the draft the back of the DHR BMW up ahead, and it's down to 0.8 of a second. These two are coming. It's going to be a very exciting race and finish as Jesper Tarbog sets the fastest lap of the race. 45.4 flat, being pushed along by Yuri Braham. This is the way to do it, guys. They're 0.4 behind. This, by the final turn here, they will be right on Keith Berwick, and they should be might be able to push straight past him. It depends on what kind of run they get and where they get it. Let's go on board now with Yuri Braham in third position. We'll follow this battle. Around the final turn, they've finally caught up to Keith Berwick. We've got just over a lap to get past him. And here we are now on to the final lap. Berwick, Tarbog, Braham, Via, all in for the win. And Tarbog's gone up the inside. He's making his move. Down the inside he goes. Yuri Braham looking to follow him through, and Berwick is being left hung out to dry a little bit on the outside. VR sniffing around for the win here as well, and it looks like Tarbog to take the win. He has got a little break there as he went past, and Braham and Berwick squabbled for a small amount of time. VR looking up the inside of Braham now, and Braham cuts him off, but up front Berwick has caught Tarbog. Can Berwick do it? Berwick's up in the draft. He's going to the line. They're going to cross the line just now, and Berwick's going to the inside, and Tarbog's wanted to stop him there, and over the line they come, and Tarbog just takes the win by 0.1 of a second from Keith Berwick. What a fantastic and stupendous end to this race. Braham third, VR fourth, NATO fifth, Khan, Boucher, Bogdan, Gardner. But what a fantastic race there as Tarbog storms through with just 2 corners to go to take the lead of the race and take a double win of the evening, with Berwick taking his second place of the evening, his 5th second place in 6 races at this particular track. Braham again with a podium position. That's his 4th of the season so far. Tarbog will be very happy with that indeed. After a slow start at Road America, of course his problems at Nürburgring, where he showed great pace, he'll be very, very pleased to take a double win there. Daniel Wood took 10th place, Hugo Gonçalves 11th, Blaine 12th, Lopez, Werner, Skurlock, Amaral, Klein, Solborg, Van Scheppingen and Robert Isles. What an exciting race we had there in the 3rd round of the American Touring Car Championship. Round 3 at KW SuperSpeedway. Always produces great close action. Dan Asbury 21st, Eric Nelson 22nd after what I suspect was a drive-through penalty. And Darius Radersky round out the top 23. Of course, we lost Abdul Ahmed at the start of this race. But Jesper Tarbog will be absolutely delighted with his win, with Sal Boucher recovering to 7th place in that race, almost catching up to Vincent Kahn. Maybe if they work together, they might have been able to catch up to Miguel Nato. Of course, it's more difficult than it seems. So Braham with his 3rd position takes 90 points. VR with his 4th position takes 86 points. 83 points for Miguel Nato. Well, after that fantastic race in there and a fantastic finale to race 2, we have a few of the drivers here for a chat. First off, we'll start with Keith Berwick. 2 second places in the race, Keith. Your 5th out of 5 second places out of 6 races at this particular track, with 1 win. How was that event for you?
It couldn't have gone any better, I don't think. I mean, you know what, I'm happy. Leaving this track with 2 good finishes is always a blessing, especially in the company that now races in ATCC. The talent, the competition level has just skyrocketed this season, and you know, I would have been happy with 2 top 5s. But taking 2 seconds out of here, especially having the championship lead going in, is definitely a blessing. But watching Jesper pull off 2 wins here, my hat's off to him, and you know, it's just a phenomenal feat that he pulled off. So well done, Jesper.
What were you thinking as during that race you emerged out of the pit stop with perhaps a 2-second lead, and the 4 guys behind you seemed to squabble amongst themselves, not gain on you at all? You must have been, I mean, laughing to yourself, really. What were you thinking?
Oh. Well, it was perfect. I mean, I was about a 1.5 second lead majority of the second stint of the race, and there was battling going on back and forth, and then as soon as Yuri and Jesper had freed themselves up, I knew that they were coming, and there was nothing I could do about it. All I was trying to do was trying to think, okay, if they get me on, on this lap, the second last lap, or the last lap, where can I put the car? Are they going to go outside? I'm just basically trying to run through all the options in my head, and the option that ended up happening ended up me losing by, I think, about hundredths of a second, which I'm totally happy with.
Yeah. It was stunning to watch as they just about managed to catch up back to you. I mean, the DHR train almost caught up to Tarborg in race 1. So Tarborg must have felt some satisfaction from the second race, the fact that he was able to do it, whereas the guys in behind him weren't able to do it. Well, what happened in the first race though with the pit stops with yourself and Boucher? And Braham, what on earth is going on?
Well, Yuri, do you want to take this one? You go ahead.
Well, Keith said to me, let's go to the pit in the next lap. And we both were concentrating on putting on our lights to give the signal to the drivers behind us that we're going to pit. And we were just so busy with putting on the lights that we forgot to request the pits. It cost us 5 extra seconds.
Oh, unbelievable. So I'm coming out of the pits. I'm thinking Jesper's already set off, and you guys were, what's going on? Jesper just disappeared and just took the win. I was had two big gaps for you guys to be able to catch up. Saul, you lost the draft a little bit in race 2. Picked up a 7th place, but race 1 was very eventful for you as well. How did the event go for you?
Oh, I can't complain at all. Coming out with a podium in race 1 and a top 10 finish in race 2. I mean, I coming to a track like this, a little small mistake can end a race. So I'm just happy to finish as well as I did. It was a blessing for sure, and to see my teammates up there with me as well was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we saw the DHR train going well there. How was it drafting with Keith and Vinny?
Oh, just like we planned, just like we practiced. I got a little bit lucky with a miscue between Vinny and I coming into the pits in the first race. Vinny had pitted a lap earlier than me, and I boneheadedly didn't notice his lights, and he went in, and I carried on, and I was basically out by myself for a lap. And when I pitted in, he had a little bit of trouble in the pits, and I nailed my pit perfectly. So him and I came out side by side. So that was a little bit of luck there for us. So him and I were basically able to work together till the end of the race, trying to catch Jesper, which we weren't able to quite do. But
Wait, Yuri, how did races go for you? Obviously, you got a podium in the second race. That's your 4th podium of the season, and you got a 6th place a 7th place, sorry, in race 1. Well, and also you got pole position as well, which looked like an absolute perfect lap.
I was 6th in the first race.
Oh yes, you were 6th. Sorry.
Well,
I can't read my notes. My writing is notoriously bad.
Yeah, after the mistake in the pit stop in race 1, I just lost the draft to the cars in front of me, and then you can't catch them anymore because the front runners are running such high speeds in the draft. You have to get with them. So and then I noticed that the 2 cars in front of me, Tyler, and the other one was Francisco Villar, and I know he's 1 position above me on the 2nd place in the ranking. So I was like, okay, that's my call. I have to beat him for the position. That's good for the points. And and later I noticed that Jesper was 1st, and he's the one. He's the guy on the 4th place, if I'm correct. So with the 2 wins, and I'm happy with the podium in the 2nd race, and of course the qualify. It's all extra points, but I think Jesper will give us some hard times during the ATCC season.
Well, by my calculations, which are always a bit sketchy, Barrick has 553 points. Very well done to him. Round of applause. With the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th extremely close. You've got Yuri on 525, Talborg on 522, and VR on 519. So there's 6 points just covering
Well, we
the
actually,
second
Ryan,
out of
we
four.
actually, Jesper did join us for the drive interview. I mean, the guy deserves a round of applause all around because, you know,
beautiful
at
drive.
racing here, it's unbelievable. I would never expect, you know, to see a double win. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would ever see a double win here, and he, you know, did amazing. Well done, Jesper.
Superb. Really was excellent driving there from Jesper. Well, thank you, boys. We'll see you next week. In fact, so there's only a very short gap this time around. So we don't have to wait 2 weeks this time, which is excellent news. And we'll be at Watkins Glen, won't we, Keith? Where we had one of the test events. So that'll be exciting indeed. So thank you guys again for great racing. Got me very excited in my chair. I think I might have woken up people in my flat, but oh well. I will bear the abuse for you guys. You know, the sacrifices I make is incredible.
I know. Ryan, you do a great job, and once again, thank you, Ryan, for staying up so late and doing what you do, mate.
Yeah. Blah blah blah. Right. Well, thank you very much, guys. I'll see you later.
Take care.
See ya.
Well, that was the third round of the ATCC. This is his third season. I'm Ryan Callan. Thank you for joining me. Join us once again next week at the same time for more action from these drivers. We're back to the road courses, but still in America at the Watkins Glen. So that will be fantastic racing indeed. And this is me signing off until next week at the same time. So we'll see you then.